Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to episode 128 of SMG Viewers Comments. This is going to be the last SMG Viewers Comments of 2017. Let's get right to it.
Hey Glenn, I know this is off topic for the video, but have you ever had a situation where the bassist is actually the best musician in the band? Only asking because that happens to be the case with my band. We just gotta watch out for the tour bus. Love your content, man.
Nope, never happened. Not even once. Then again, I've never recorded a full band where Keith Wilkinson plays in it. I have a sneaky suspicion if he's in a band, he's probably going to be the best musician in that group. But outside of Keith, probably not. And certainly not going to happen in the metal bands that you guys in your home studios are going to be recording. Definitely not going to happen. You're probably going to have more live unicorns in your studio than a bass player being the best musician in the band.
Hey Glenn, do you think that there will be a passing of the torch from the current thrash metal big four to the newer emerging metal acts?
Well, that really depends on those new emerging bands being able to record drums without any computer enhancement. The thing is, when I was a kid, the bands played real metal, not EDM with distorted guitars.
What's the reason the analog compressors sound better?
That's a damn fine question. Gotta remember, the software compressors are trying to emulate what the hardware does, so they're not always going to be 100% accurate, especially when you start getting into like linear inconsistencies and a bunch of other technical mumbo jumbo that signal processing guys like to throw you. Seriously though, I think that's a question that's worth further investigation, and I know a lot of you guys were asking for maybe a little bit more in-depth in the hardware versus software comparison, so I think I am going to do an episode based on that. Stay tuned for that. That will happen sometime in the next month or two.
You know what? You got nothing nice to say. Don't say it all, man. I mean, really.
Wow, that's fantastic advice. If I had followed that, I wouldn't have a YouTube show.
Hi Glenn, I'm the sound man at a small bar in Los Angeles. How do you feel about studio engineers getting in the way of your job and changing the settings on the mixing board when they don't realize that some of the equipment is really old and is jerry-rigged just so it can work? I had that happen to me last night. I had stepped away from the board to clean up some tables, also part of my job, and when I confronted him about the feedback, he replied with, "What feedback?"
Dude, I have been there. I remember I was doing sound for a gig, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago. And, jury-rigged equipment as well, and had everything set up. Everything was running fine. I stepped away for a couple minutes. Then I just hear this screeching feedback. And I walk over to the board. I'm talking to the kid. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And, he had just got out of recording school. He said, well, it's got to be like this. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine on equipment that can do that. This can't. Here's an idea. If it's not yours, don't fucking touch it. Doesn't matter what your opinion is. If it isn't yours, it's not yours. Fuck, that pisses me off. Just a general rule of thumb, guys, okay? Even though you might know better than the guy in the bar working, okay? That's his shit. That's his gig. Don't fuck with it.
Wise decision by accepting the fact that time the studio takes up would be unfair to kids. You did miss out on one of the greatest experiences in life, though.
Au contraire, mon frère. I've seen Judas Priest live 7 times.
Just saw a mixing tutorial, not gonna mention the channel, where the engineer basically quantized all the guitar tracks. The band recorded their tracks slower, and then they did what they proudly called time expansion to get it to sound tighter. What do you think of that, Glenn? A little bit too much, isn't it?
I don't get that at all. Quantizing guitars, quantizing drums is bad enough. If you're quantizing your guitars, okay, just give up now. I don't fucking get that. That's not metal. That's just fucking pure horseshit.
Glenn, any thought on Greta Van Fleet's attempt at a rock revival?
I'm hearing a lot of buzz about Greta Van Fleet. In fact, one of my partners at work, he does some artwork for that band, and they're located in Frankenmuth, Michigan. So it's not that far away. We've been talking about the possibility of getting them on the show and talking about what they're doing and how they're having an impact. So I want to ask you guys, do you want to see an episode with Greta Van Fleet? Let me know in the comments below. And if you do, we're going to do our best to make sure that happens.
We put a lot of little kid bands together. One of the hardest parts is finding songs whose lyrics the SJWs won't scream about. It sounds simple, but go ahead, try and find some lyrics of cool songs that you won't be hung for. It's really becoming a problem. Newspeak indeed.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Seriously. That's why rock and roll sucks these days, is because nobody's dangerous anymore. Nobody's edgy. Everybody's so worried about, offending somebody. Fuck that shit. Musicians and artists and comedians went to fucking jail for the right to be able to go up on stage and say what's on your mind. You shouldn't be worried about, some social justice lynch squad fucking protesting or fucking trying to get you shut down or stop you from saying what you want to say just because it doesn't fit their particular worldview. You know, we're allowed to have different opinions. That's what a democracy is. So when somebody says, oh, you shouldn't write that because you might offend somebody, say, fuck you, you needed to be offended.
Why did the bassist cross the road? He saw Glenn Fricker.
Well, actually, that's not true. His mom was on the other side and he needed a ride.
Glenn, I probably watched every video of yours, and I can't help but wonder if musicians are just a different breed of people. It seems so fucking obvious to do things like paying for service, learn a song before coming to a studio, clean up after yourself, or learn how to take care of your own instrument. Is it really so widespread, or the things you're telling are over exaggerations?
I only wish they were exaggerations. Unfortunately, they're not. Believe me, everything I bitch about is based on real life experience here in the studio. You can't make this shit up. You know, you'd think that people would be able to do those basic things. And, you know, for the most part, a lot of musicians do, but I just find, you know, there's this running streak of bass players who just, you know, are completely fucking useless. That's the sad reality of making records. You know, you're dealing with artsy types, so they might not be completely switched on at all times.
It's been awesome watching this channel grow. You don't realize how much the channels you watch have changed until you go back and start watching their first videos you saw. So many butthurt people. Anyways, thanks for sharing your knowledge. This channel has been my go-to resource for learning about recording, mixing, and gear, because I know you'll be honest and relatively unbiased.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, for your comment. That's very much appreciated. I'm so glad you're getting some use to the channel. I'm glad I could teach somebody. And yeah, that's the thing, guys. Is, you know, if you like the show, if you're getting something useful out of it, do what the shirt says and fucking subscribe.
Played one of these at a house show over the weekend paired with a Mesa cap. Ran the amp clean with an EHX bass soul food and an MXR bass compressor, and it ripped. I've sworn by my GK Fusion 550 for years, but this thing absolutely blew it out of the water. Now I just need to decide if I have room for another $1,100 preamp in my life.
What can I say, man? The Dark Glass stuff is fucking magnificent. For those of you guys who haven't watched my demo, please check it out. We've got like basically the best bass tone I've ever gotten in my entire career out of this amp, and it was literally just mic up the amp in about 2 minutes and away we go. Great bass player Keith Wilkinson playing. Of course, that's got everything to do with it. But yeah, the Dark Glass stuff is just so fucking awesome. Highly, highly, highly recommend. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. If you guys want to see your comments on the show, make sure you comment often and early and constructively. That's always a big plus. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time.